Hi, my name is Siyavash. I'm a project leader with over a decade of experience delivering projects in FMCG. And welcome to this training session where we pit two project philosophies against each other, not to start a fight, but to finally get them talking. On one side, we have PMP, born in boardrooms, raised on Gantt charts, and fluent in stakeholder alignment. It's backed by a globally recognized certification from the Project Management Institute. Pass the exam, and you get to add 3 letters to your name and instantly become the most organized person in any meeting. On the other side, we have WCM's 7 Steps Early Equipment Management (EEM), forged in the fire of manufacturing, obsessed with reliability, and allergic to fluff. Unlike PMP, WCM isn't a public certification. It's typically taught internally by organizations like Unilever, Fiat, or Nestle. If you know it, you probably learned it from a grizzled plant manager who's seen more breakdowns than a startup founder. This training isn't about choosing sides, it's about understanding how these two approaches tackle the same challenge, delivering successful projects, from completely different angles. One starts with a charter, the other starts with a broken machine and a very annoyed shift manager. Let's start with the big picture. PMP follows a 5-phase life cycle: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closing. It's structured, sequential, and designed to guide a project from concept to completion with clear deliverables and stakeholder alignment. WCM's early equipment management, on the other hand, follows 7 steps: conceptual planning, basic design, detailed design, manufacturing, installation, trial, and initial flow. These steps are laser focused on equipment reliability, operator involvement, and making sure things don't break the moment you turn them on. Each phase or step has a goal, defined inputs, and a structured process, a gate, and measurable outputs. But the mindset behind them, that's where it gets interesting. Let's kick things off with how each approach begins a project. In PMP, the initiation phase is about authorization and alignment. You start with a business case, strategic goal, and a few enthusiastic stakeholders who believe this project will change everything until the budget review hits. The process involves crafting a project charter and identifying stakeholders, which then gets reviewed and approved by a sponsor or steering committee. The output: a shiny charter, a stakeholder register, and a rough idea of what you're actually doing. Now, WCM's early equipment management doesn't care about your charter. It starts with reality, specifically the biggest operational loss on the shop floor. You gather loss analysis, cost deployment data, and operator feedback, usually from someone who's been fixing the same machine forever. The process here is about defining an improvement theme and selecting a concept that actually solves the problem. Approval comes from the pillar team and management, and the output is a concept brief, initial specs, and some aggressive improvement targets. So what's the difference? PMP starts with a strategy, WCM starts with a rec. One begins in a meeting room, the other begins next to a machine that just jammed for the 3rd time this week. Once the project is greenlit, PMP moves into planning mode. This is where you build the roadmap, scope, schedule, budget, risks, and the communication plan. You're armed with the charter, organizational assets, and stakeholder feedback, and you start assembling a plan that looks great on the paper and even better in the PowerPoint. The gate here is the sign-off of the integrated project plan, and the output is a formal roadmap with resource assignments and a work breakdown structure that makes engineers cry tears of joy. Meanwhile, WCM splits planning into two steps: basic design, detailed design. In basic design, you define functional specs and layout based on the concept. Then, in detailed design, you finalize drawings, bill of material, and the maintenance strategies. The inputs are user needs, layout constraints, and concept specs. The gate is a design freeze and feasibility. PMP loves structure. WCM loves asking, why does this still break? One builds a plan, the other builds a machine that doesn't need a plan to explain why it failed. Now it's time to get things done. In PMP, execution means delivering the project's outputs through coordinated effort. You've got your team assigned, your communication protocols, and your project plan. You execute tasks, manage teams, and track progress like a hawk. Milestones reviews and stakeholder feedbacks keep things on the course. And the output is a set of completed deliverables and updated logs. WCM, however, rolls up its sleeves and gets to work. Manufacturing is about building components and subassemble based on the final design. Installation is about assembling and installing the equipment on site with safety checks and installation audits to make sure nothing explodes. The input are fabrication specs and supplier contracts, and the output is a fully installed piece of equipment with visual controls and operator access. PMP delivers tasks, WCM delivers machines. One tracks progress, the other tracks bolts. Execution is never the end. In PMP, you monitor and control to make sure the project stays on track and within scope. You track KPIs, manage changes, and control quality using performance data, change requests, and quality metrics. The gate is the change control board, and the output is a stack of approved changes, performance reports, and updated documents that will live forever in SharePoint. WCM's trial phase is more hands-on. You run test cycle, measure OEE, and collect operator feedback to validate performance. The inputs are installed equipment, SOPs, and training plans. The gate is a performance audit and trial sign-off, and the output is a verified equipment, trained team, and adjusted setting that actually works in real life. PMP monitors dashboards, WCM monitors machines. One sends reports, the other sends people home early when things get done. Finally, we reach the end. In PMP, closing means formally wrapping up the project. You validate scope, release resource, and archive documents. The inputs are completed deliverables and stakeholder acceptance. And the gate is formal closure approval, and the output is a closed project and a full folder of lessons learned that no one will read until the next disaster. WCM's initial flow is about stabilizing operations and embedding continuous improvement. You use trial data, updated SOPs, and feedback loops to achieve stable OEE, update standards, and launch Kaizen cycles. The gate is a ramp-up review and autonomous maintenance, and the output is institutionalized improvement and empowered team who don't need to call engineers every time something rattles. PMP closes with a meeting. WCM closes with a machine that doesn't jam every Tuesday. So what have we learned? PMP gives you structure, visibility, and stakeholder alignments. WCM gives you reliability, ownership, and continuous improvement. Together, they help you deliver projects that don't just look good on paper, they actually work. If you enjoyed this training, subscribe for more content on project leadership. This is Siyavash, and I will see you in the next one.